Thanks for listening. If you like what you hear, support the show by joining the Nerd On Nation powered by Patreon. Go to nerdon.tv/Patreon and get Nerd On exclusives for as little as $1 a month. Nerd On the podcast is proud to be powered by Focusrite, Embody, creators of Immerse Gaming, Odyssey, Amazon, and TCG Player. Enjoy the show.
Attention. Please be advised. The following episode contains spoilers. Don't say we didn't warn you.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Nerd On, the podcast you didn't need but deserve, where all levels of nerd are welcome. And today, we're going to be talking about something quite topical, a little bit of change in the programming. Again, not super on hot tracks of it all, but we like to go in, dive deep, and actually have a real conversation about the thing instead of just being like, hey, let's just push this out as fast as we can and not have a real conversation about the thing we love. But let's not get too far into that. My name is Tom. And I'm joined by my co-host today.
Get your special sock out, nerds. It's the Azorian one, Anthony Esteves.
And I'm Logan. These aren't real. These didn't happen.
And if you're watching this, if you clicked on the thing, you know what we're talking about. You saw the title. It is Deadpool and Wolverine. To make it clear, it is not Deadpool 3. It is Deadpool and Wolverine. That's what they said. They were like, it's not Deadpool 3, it's Deadpool and Wolverine. So I'm like, yes, they're going to continue the franchise for as long as they can.
Hearing with 90, if I'm really honest with you.
I was like, that looks pretty cool.
That looks pretty good. Right? If I do this, it looks all right.
It looks pretty good. It looks like the Hulk is going to be in the reflection of it all.
I think I see it. Yeah.
And as you guys heard before we started, there's going to be plenty of spoilerific conversation here. We'll do our best to not talk about it into a certain point. You know how the show goes.
Yeah, like the part where beep does the beep, and it just goes like beep.
But before we get too far into it, we do need to dedicate the episode to one of the patrons of the show. And today's patron for the Deadpool and Wolverine episode is Matt R. Thank you so much, Matt R. You help us continue making this show, keeping our lights on, making sure that we can host all the episodes for all of our listeners. Thank you so much. And everyone who is listening, you guys can join the Patreon. We'll talk about that at the end of the show, but let's get right into it. Deadpool Wolverine, guys. Deadpool Wolverine. We're talking about it. It came out this year at the time we're recording it, obviously. We don't know where it's going to land. Hopefully sooner than later. We have a whole lot of episodes lined up, but what were your guys' thoughts? Tell me what were your guys' thoughts? Just, I think,
Steves, can I jump in first real quick?
Absolutely.
I'm actually more curious to hear your thoughts than mine, but I want to say this. So, what was it? A year and a half ago, we got that little snippet of Ryan and Hugh in the living room where he just walks by in the back.
Sure, Ryan.
Sure, Ryan. Hype. Then they did their second thing. Hype. And we're here. And I didn't get to see it right away. The weekend it came out, we were at Comic-Con. And so we were a little busy, didn't see it that weekend. I think I ended up seeing it the following one. And I was excited and I was nervous because Tom was going to go see it first. And I was like, I don't know if Tom's going to like this. Like many of you old listeners may know, we differ on some sort of comic like Ragnarok. We don't totally agree on that film, on where it stands on the list of Marvel's.
Tom has made an impact. When we think of him, we're going to watch a movie.
always. And so, he said he saw it, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll take myself. And he goes, I'd be down to go again. And I was like, my ears perked up, and I was like, oh, and he goes, I'm really curious to hear what you think because no spoilers. There's just some stuff in there that I think you're really going to enjoy. And so we're going to keep this whole thing spoiler free. From start to finish, I just really love how they handled it. I loved Logan. It is my Dark Knight. It is my favorite superhero film of all time.
Roman Empire.
It's my Roman Empire. And so, as someone who holds that film up very high in my heart, obviously, I was a little nervous for Hugh to return to the role. Within minutes, no longer worried. Within minutes, I'm just like, I'm in. Let's do this. Let's buckle up. I'm here for a good time. I was not prepared for the emotional roller coaster that not only me, but my inner child would take while watching this film. And I ended up seeing it twice.
Nice.
Because I had to take my wife to go see it when we were in town. I went to go visit her back up north. And man, if I could watch this on repeat, I will. I don't know where it lands in my top 10 yet, but it's in the top 10. And that's all I'll say about that.
Esteves?
So we watched it the Saturday of opening weekend. My brother-in-law, who's basically dressed up as Wolverine for Halloween like 10 years in a row because he can grow the facial hair, no problem. And he has the actual like collector's edition claws that where you grab the handle and it looks like they're coming out. So of course he prepared himself.
Oh, you mean like these?
almost. So the heads up I got. So same as Corey, saw the initial teaser, laughed my ass off watching Hugh Jackman just walk up steps. That's all he did, and it was hilarious.
Well done.
I had the excitement and the worry, like, Logan was a great end to this. How do we have him involved in this? Is it in between the era? Like, is it before Logan happened and all that happening? But having seen how the way Ryan and Hugh act on social media together before this was even happening, I kind of have that faith of these guys have enough charisma together to make this work. So I went in with that feeling. My brother-in-law saw it Thursday night with his buddy who was dressed up as Deadpool. He wore his Halloween costume, Deadpool costume, to be alongside Joe. And he said, I absolutely loved it. I'm not spoiling it, but what I will tell you is don't laugh too hard at the first line because you'll miss the next one after it. So I got the heads up of not to laugh too hard because the next one was coming right after. So we went in Saturday. I'm wearing the shirt that I'm wearing right now. If you can't see it, it's Deadpool riding a unicorn on a rainbow.
Bifrost.
And it's a
Bifrost.
I want to say it's a rainbow. And within, like Corey, within 5 minutes, I'm like, they went there, and it's hilarious that they went there. And I can't stop laughing at the idea that they went there. And just the rest of the film was just fun. And
Set the right tone.
It set the right tone for it. You knew what to expect, what they gave you. It kept, it keeps the formula of the whole, we're here, then we go back, and then we come back to this. It's just common the whole Deadpool franchise. But I my stomach hurt from laughing and from feels that I felt throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna be like kind of like the wild card here because Deadpool, I think I could have cared less because it kind of just felt like, of course, there's getting a third one, right? Like it's so why not? It's the the crown jewel of the Fox Marvel movies outside of the X-Men and outside of the Wolverine,
specifically Wolverine, yeah,
Wolverine franchise. And Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool, they're one and the same in terms of how they talk about the Wolverine movies, as well as like the influence and impact that Hugh Jackman had on Deadpool as a franchise. And at this point, going into a Deadpool 3 or a third Deadpool film, Fox and Disney's merger, acquisition, whatever you want to call it, was going through. Talks about like how's this going to happen. And I mean, for all those who are listening who love films but like also have a pulse on the industry, you kind of know like money is left on the table. So like it's kind of really foolish for any corporate company to kind of argue over pennies of things versus just pay all the royalties, license everything out, do what you need to do to give the paying audience what they want. And what they want is a third Deadpool movie after the appearance cameo, the multiversal timeline stuff of Deadpool 2, Deadpool and Cable, and it's just a no-brainer. And then the world shut down for a bit, and it was kind of uncertain what we can do, right? Because Logan had come out, and it was just like, what do you do? We talk
Where
about
do you go from there?
We talk about Wolverine, we talk about Hugh Jackman all the time, but even in Deadpool 2, it opens up with the toy of Wolverine, Old Man Logan,
the music box, yeah.
And it's like, okay, cool. They acknowledge that that's a thing. So are we going to play with that? Are we not going to play with that? Whatever. And then finally, to Corey's point, we see that, okay, there's going to be some involvement in there. And then finally we see the decal, which is the Deadpool logo with the claw marks, and it's like a 3. And you're like, okay, cool. So this is going to happen. And then, you know, you're kind of like, he's going to be in there, but is it really going to be like really focused? And then as it slowly, you know, came out this, you know, year and all the promotion started ramping up, it was like, this is a Deadpool and Wolverine movie. And it's like, okay, like this could be interesting because, you know, I've talked about many times where I miss how Iron Man was the last real trilogy of 1, 2, and 3. Now everything's something : whatever second title is. And then Deadpool at this point is kind of creating its own trend of like Deadpool and another character. And I mean, we'll talk about it afterwards, but it's like, that sounds like a really great trend to be like Batman Brave and the Bold, where like every episode was Batman and Aquaman, Batman and Blue Beetle, Batman and Green Arrow. So it's like, okay, cool. Well, let's see what Deadpool can do with that. And then it kind of gives a little bit of a nice ring to what the future MCU Deadpool involvement would be, because if it just allows us to focus on one extra character while continually using Deadpool as like the constant static character. Yeah, exactly. That'd be kind of cool. But going into the movie, I had no plans to watch it. I was just not watch it like in opening weekend. I was just like, whatever. You know, movies are gonna happen. It's gonna make billions. I don't care. Like, it doesn't need my money opening weekend. And then plus, there's just so much superhero you know, shows and movies coming out that I'm like, I don't need to watch that. But I got an invite from a good friend who works over at Marvel. And he said, hey, do you want to go watch the movie at an employee screening on this day on Wednesday? It was the Wednesday before it came out. And I was like, oh, well, you know, it is LA. I do like watching free screenings. And they promised me free popcorn. And I was like, I'm there. So I
imagining Tom going like, ugh, fine.
I'll tell you right now, if you say go to a movie screening, free popcorn, I'm like, I'm there. Popcorn does something to me that I'm like, I feel it. Love this.
I feel that.
But going there, it was cool. It was really cool to see crew members there. Kevin Feige showed up. It was at El Capitan, and you know, there's people who worked there who you know, created X-23s, the consultants who were like, hey, this is how continuity is going to work. This is like the stories we're going to pull from, all that stuff. So it's like, you know, you don't meet them and greet them, but you see them and you're like, oh, and then, you know, everyone's all hanging out. They had Deadpool and Wolverine cocktails, and then they, you know, so Aviation Gin was there and stuff like that.
Of course.
And then they give away these little popcorn buckets were cool. And all the, you know, food they had, you know, I think Pink's hot dog. So yeah, it was a cool time. It was a cool time. You know, Kevin Feige opened it up being like, hey, blah, blah. And this is going to be the first spoiler, everyone. He was like, oh yeah, we have the creator for X-23 here because she's in the movie. And I was just like, I did not have any spoilers, but then
you didn't see the trailer.
What I heard, which was a heartwarming thing, and that's going to be a theme that I'm going to talk about. There's a heartwarming thing to most of this movie.
I told you this.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Because Kevin Feige's like, oh yeah, X-23's in the movie, and then everyone's like, oh, and he's like, you guys all knew that, right? And then I was like, I didn't know this. And then Corey had informed me on our way to Comic-Con that Daphne Keane, who plays X-23 Laura, wanted to go to the premiere, and it was like, well, if you're going to the premiere, everyone's going to know that you're in the movie. And then she's like, so like, we don't know if we should have you at the premiere. And it's like kind of hard to say no to that. And so he said, okay, well, I'll do the announcement then that she's in the movie so that she can go. And I thought
they put her in the trailer. They had her be put in the trailer so that she could go to the premiere. That was why she was in the trailer. I just thought that was so heartwarming.
That's such a cool thing. Cause you know, whatever you may think about the movies and the franchise, like actors and performers and artists and, you know, crew people put their lives into this. And it's like, you know, to be part of it on opening day where it's a big celebration, it means a lot to many people. So it's really cool that they were able to do that but so watch the movie, you know, and it's interesting to go with like a crowd of people who are jazzed to go, obviously, like, you know, kids and stuff like that. But then these are like crew members who are like who are rooting for their work, right? And
brings a different energy to the theater, right?
Yeah, and you're at the El Capitan, so like, you know, confetti's exploding here and there, and it's like kind of like, oh damn, this is a bigger experience. But no, it was I said it this way. I said it's an infinitesimally enjoyable film. I think it's like super entertaining, super funny, and we'll get into it again with the spoilers. There are things that I would be like, this is worth my ticket of admission. So it's like, this is worth the cost. Like, and they're not they're not to see the funny laughing jokes like you guys mentioned, you know, although those are great, but I was like, there was more. is huge, especially if you're close to our age in the 30s range, or you experienced the later 90s at some point where it meant something to you. This was kind of like unexpectedly very, very like well handled, even if you want to be jaded enough to be like, this movie is a celebration of like corporate mergers. But like, you can't help but be like, yo, there's also a lot of history in this movie. And so that's like such an interesting, cool experience to go that is like beyond metatextual. But anyways, we won't go too far down that, because now we kind of talked about our initial reactions, our first viewings. I guess we can completely say now we're in spoiler territory. We had them.
If you didn't see the movie, go pause this.
Special sock time.
It's probably still playing. It is still playing. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, it is. Yes.
Go watch it, and then come back to your car, press play, and we'll take you from here. Now that you've seen the movie.
Now, favorite parts, aspects, the character growth, MCU, inclusion, Fox, Marvel, etc. Let's
here's
talk
the
about
thing.
Favorite parts.
It had something for Marvel fans.
Mhm.
It had something for Fox fans.
Mhm.
It had something for DC fans. It covered all.
It had something for Blake Lively fans. Fans.
It had cameos you didn't know were happening, like Cowboy Deadpool.
All right.
All right.
Wrexham soccer player Deadpool.
Yes. It's it was like
Rob McElhenney was in there as one of the TVA guys.
Unfortunately, the theater he was at cut his scene by mistake.
That's
no, it started out when the movie starts, we get the, how are we going to do this without defiling the legacy of Logan? We're not. And I think that was such a smart move. I think that was such a hey guys, we're here to have a good time.
Yeah.
And get out of your asses for a minute. This is Deadpool. Not only do they not defile the legacy, and here's the thing. I think that is a way of doing Logan justice, because you go so far beyond what you think would happen with that body, that it becomes a thing where you're like, it's just not even the same thing. It's such a different beyond. And then, the song going over the entire, I'm just talking about the opening, guys.
No, I want to stop real quick. I want to add on top of that. And I think I'm going to say something different, but it's the exact same thing you just said. Because
go on.
I liked absolutely digging up Logan's grave and he can't come back. It is absolutely solidifying in remaining true that, like, yes,
Logan's legit.
That character happened. That character is dead. The death still mattered. If anything, it mattered so goddamn much. The universe is dying. And it's like, we're not bringing him back. We're not softening any of the emotional arcs that this character had on you, or the characters in the film, or the legacy of the character in the thing. Because that Hugh Jackman, Wolverine, Logan character is the one from the X-Men, Bryan Singer, Brett Ratner movies and all that stuff. So it's he's gone. And this was legit. We are going to dig him up though. It's one of those, like, you show me the body. It's like, yes, we're not playing with that guy. We're playing with a different guy.
So they brought it up in the interviews because Hugh and Ryan were like on a 45-day tour around the world where they had bags under their eyes by the final week leading up to the premiere. But they are bringing up how Ryan is like a master of what he calls clown acting, where it's the face is covered, but you can tell by his mannerisms what facial expression he's giving. And when he's in the grave and he hits with the shovel and you hear the sound and he just looks up and looks around. It's minimal stuff. You see no expression, but you're already feeling he's trying to cover. He's about to lose that. Yeah, motherfucker. He's just so good at the no expression, but the whole delivery. You understood what he was feeling.
Go on with
it just goes to prove to a bunch of movies are like, oh, we have to take his helmet off. We have to take his mask off, because how else would you know how they're feeling?
Not Ryan. Not Ryan's Deadpool. Nope.
Guys. I just think it's like so many things. It's hard to specifically name all, because I want to name the whole movie. I want to say how they handled everything. I think this has one of the greatest fourth wall breaks I've ever seen in a movie ever. I'm going to Disneyland.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. The most
headbutts the camera,
aggressive.
and then
The most
does the
aggressive.
hop skip back. It's
Suck it,
probably the
Fox,
best
from
fourth wall break.
Disneyland.
Yeah, and then grabbing the boom mic, and it's just like
It was so good.
Suck it, Fox.
I jumped.
Yeah.
I physically jumped when it happened out of just like, oh my God.
His most aggressive fourth wall break ever.
Shout out to Matthew McFadden, Matthew McFadden.
I call him Tom from Succession.
Mr. Darcy. Yes, Mr. Darcy. I know him from Death at a Funeral. And so perfect
Wampian.
slimy villain.
Oh, yeah.
And that whole TVA scene, why is Thor crying? Brilliant. But I think
joke throughout.
Yeah. I think possibly I'm trying to think of my favorite moment of the whole thing. There's a serious one and obviously a very funny one.
Mm-hmm.
You can trying to decide.
You can pass it to Esteves if you want to think about it.
I'll say the serious one first.
Go for it.
And I know it's a not a really unique one at all, but the Cassandra Nova. First of all, fingers.
The long ass fingies.
Oh,
fingies, loved it. When she is trying to bring Logan to her cause, and she says, "I've got you," and he just turns to her and says, "No, I've got you." I had legit chills. I thought it was just a brilliant acting moment from Hugh, going from this really feeling the loss of everything he had done to, okay, here's my code word, I've got you. And now they're putting the helmet on. I just thought that was a wonderful moment. I thought that was a really brilliantly done thing that Deadpool does, where they are very outlandishly. That's why I like Scrubs so much. They're outlandishly funny, but they really do not shy away from serious.
There's heart,
depth in moments.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll save my funny one for another go round, but we pass it around from there.
Esteves.
So yeah, that again, the favorite fourth wall break was that one, the suck it Fox from Disneyland. With it's okay, no, the boom and everything. Just I was losing it at that moment.
For me, it's the hop skip afterwards.
The guy who secretly just loves the way Deadpool looks in his suit, and Iris playing.
Iris, bro, Goo Goo Dolls.
I cannot hear Iris the same way.
Risen, baby girl.
I cannot hear Iris the same way now. I just think of Deadpool. Anyway,
no.
God, the Chris Evans.
Let's talk about that for a minute.
They do so good because those pants are Cap pants that he's wearing, and he's got it covered. And how excited Deadpool is coming up behind him, hugging him from behind and everything, and feeling him. Because earlier we had him saluting the picture of Cap.
Yep.
And he's gonna say it. And we get flame on. And
what?
Deadpool, wait, what?
Wrong, Chris.
He's Johnny Storr.
Possibly one of the best surprise cameos one of the best surprise cameos in the film.
My wife had forgotten about the Fantastic Four movies. And so she's like, I don't get it. And she's all, he was Johnny Storm. And she's all, she got it like right there in the
Tom got to see my in-person reaction to it. I was not ready for it. I was thinking it was Cap 100%. I thought it was some variant of Cap. I thought it was going to be maybe the black and red US soldier Cap, and he's like a villain or whatever. Yeah. But when he said flame on, I just about I picked my jaw up off the floor.
They went there.
Back in.
They went there.
Like, holy shit.
Two moments. I'm sorry. One of the serious one is in the Honda Odyssey. When Hugh reminds us that he's Hugh Jackman, and that whole 2-minute line.
Oh, his prisoner dialogue. His prisoners.
yes.
God's greatest joke, that you can't die, only the joke's on all of us.
That whole scene. And Deadpool doesn't say a word. It's all Wolverine just letting it out, and it's Hugh Jackman, prisoner's level, like Tom said. That the tone in his voice, the hitting the top of the van. So damn good. And just sending with
now.
I'm gonna fight you now. Yes.
It's the only character to shut him up.
That's
the only character to ever really hurt him.
Also, as an owner of one, Honda Odysseys do fuck. And then where I was disappointed in the audience that was with me, because there was a lot of people there and they were laughing, but they didn't get something that I was heard yelling loudly in the theater over. and that's the arrival of Blade.
Yes.
I love Blade. Blade
Can we just
is
talk about that whole moment too?
yes. But he comes out and I'm all, fuck yeah, Blade. And my wife's like, I think you're the only one who knows. I'm like, what the fuck are these people?
No.
19-year-olds.
So
Right?
we get Elektra first.
Yes.
And Tom again got to see my live reaction to this. I go, what the fuck?
And she looks
I
amazing.
saw that movie in
And
theaters.
I was just,
guys.
I literally was like, hold on, just.
And she
Hold
looked
on.
amazing. And she looked amazing, by the way.
Great.
Didn't miss a day.
And then we get the music plays and it cuts to the doorway and I go, what is this? And I hear this like, and Blade walks out. Wesley Snipes looking bad as fuck.
Beautiful.
Walks out from behind the door and my mind explodes. And then Tom goes, wait,
Hold it.
wait,
Tom loving every second of this.
playing card.
Yes.
Cue playing card. And I go, no. And in my mind, what am I thinking? Taylor Kitsch. Taylor Kitsch is back.
No.
Not my favorite. If I'm really honest with you. Fucking Channing Tatum comes
He got
around the
his
corner.
dream. His dream came true. He got to play Gambit on screen.
And look, guys, I'll fucking eat my shoe here. For years, I said, not my Gambit. Nah, I don't know. I can't see it. I don't know. I'll if the movie comes out, we'll see then. But like, as far as I'm concerned, I don't know. I'm not going to joker myself and say no, never. Boy, was I fucking wrong. The dude killed it. Not only did he kill it, he had so much fun.
Because he's been waiting so
much
long to
fun.
do it. He's been waiting
10 years.
so long. It was a Capeless Crusaders bit that I would do on our show. And both said, I would do it over. And it all came back to me as I saw Channing walk in. I'm like, the most half.
I was like, I literally, when I saw that, I was like, Esteves?
Never had a Wolverine up in here. And getting to see the eyes glow when he activates his powers, but also we then get Daphne Keene. We get X-23, the X-23, and in the moment, the piece de resistance for all this is she puts the glasses on the right sword in one of the scenes.
I felt like feels when she put the glasses on, like feels when she.
No, it's a great moment because like everyone's all lined up and it's like Logan's chosen to like, okay, I'm going to be with this band of misfit toys. And then all of a sudden they line up and there's cool explosion about a fight. And then she puts it on and it just gives us that little reminder that like this movie still is trying to pay honor to the Logan movie as well.
Yeah.
And
there's emotion.
Everything came before. It's like, it's not just about the fun. It's all about the honor too.
When you got the line in there where, I'm not the right guy.
You're never the right guy.
You're never the right guy. Guys. Now, Tom, I want you, before we get into any more cameos, I want you to talk about something that I think I hugged you in the theater when it happened, because I was so happy, not only for me, but for you. And I feel like you need to be the one who talks about this.
It's just unfortunate, right? I think that's the thing where it's unfortunate. Okay. So let's not dance around.
That's also one of the best sequences in the movie as well.
Yeah, so it's back to the future, back in time, montage. Cue the montage.
Using the song.
We also get comic accurate
Deadpool
short King Logan.
Yeah, Deadpool at the point has this TVA multiversal thing. After he realized he can't use the dead Logan, he goes to all these different universes to find the right Logan to be the new anchor being for
Marvel
the
Jesus.
Fox universe. And we get, comically accurate sized Logan. And then we get Age of Apocalypse Logan. We get patches. Yes. And
Crucifix.
Yes.
Crucified Logan.
And then we cut it back and forth between this one hulking Wolverine who is like working on a motorcycle, and then we cut back and then we see John Byrne's suit and it's like, what, the Hulk over there? And then we cut back to, so we're seeing all these different Wolverines and we're kind of not expecting what we're gonna see. Early in, a lot of people were like thinking the Patch was going to be Daniel Radcliffe because he was such a fan favorite, and seeing it was just Hugh Jackman, it was cool. But all of them respond to Deadpool the same way. They stab him and punch him through portals, and then finally we get our big muscular tank topped one turning around, and it's Henry Cavill, the Calverine. And it feels so right. And Deadpool says the thing that I think a lot of Snyderverse fans had been feeling for such a long time of it feels so right, and we would treat you so much better than the shit fucks down the street, because it's such a, and that's why I say it feels so bad, because it's like it's so true. It's so true that it's like I think, and even Ben Affleck has gone on record to say this, is like Kevin Feige is truly the genius because he knows what the audience wants, and whether that's he knows that the audience wants candy. Maybe too much candy at once could be a bad thing, but he knows they want the candy, and they're going to try to deliver as much as they can. A lot of people are like John Krasinski as Reed Richards is like cool as that version.
Here you go.
Oh, you want Sherlock as Doctor Strange? Fine. Like he delivers, and then also it allows those actors to pull out the best versions of what they can do with those characters. And here having Wolverine, Henry Cavill in the same universe and kind of paying homage, and as well as like again breaking that fourth wall, because I think everyone in the industry, and I think even Patty Jenkins had said like 2017 Justice League was just such an embarrassment for everybody, and if they can go back, like the Snyder Cut movie would be the one that it was in theaters, and we wouldn't be probably in the economic decline that we're in right now. I'm going to say that if the Snyder Cut movie came out in 2017, we'd be in the golden age of mankind. We still would have had these movies.
Different timeline.
A different timeline. We probably would have avoided the entire pandemic. Like things could have been so much better.
No COVID.
But anyways,
we never would have got the Calverine.
Yes, but, I mean, we could have, and then we still could have had the exact same line. We'll treat you better than the
Yeah. The first of all, Deadpool saying, "I think I speak for everyone when I say this feels so right," and then we get the piece de resistance in that moment. Tom, what is it?
It's the.
You were just leaving.
I was gonna say it's the arm reloading the arms, and then he punches. And I'll say this too. That was such an interesting thing because it started showing, and this is like the first time because now Wolverine's in the MCU. Wolverine's like really super strong. Like, no one really talks about like his athletic prowess with his mutation powers, and they don't show it that much in the X-Men movies. But like Wolverine punches Deadpool, he flies through like 4 cars. It's just like we've never truly got the grasp of that in live action.
He's carrying around a 400-pound fucking skeleton or a 300-pound skeleton. He's got to be strong.
He should be strong. But if I can go any favorite parts, I mean, I'm going to do a big old spoiler, and mine's going to be it's the end of the film. It's the credits. And some people are like, oh, that's not part of the movie. It's like, well, stupid MCU made the credits part of the movie anyways. You guys all watched Nick Fury say, I'm doing the Avengers. So the credits are part of the movie. And there is this entire montage of the Fox,
high school graduation,
Marvel, New Line Cinema, because Blade is the New Line Cinema guy, and it's just behind the scenes stuff of all those Marvel movies. And
2 Green Days, Good Riddance, which again, the high school vibes, the graduation vibes we're getting.
And this is the thing too, like, right?
Like, oh, this is for millennials. Here you go.
Yeah,
right. Exactly.
And this is the thing too, like they did a Comic-Con event, a panel for Deadpool Wolverine, which was actually a surprise like screening of it to the people who were in the audience. And immediately afterwards, Ryan Reynolds and company posted on social media being like, this film not only like is saying goodbye to this universe, it's saying that this universe will never exist without Fox. Like, and he has gone on to say like, hey, Wesley Snipes is the godfather of the MCU. He's the grand.
His daily posts have been my joy for the last
Ryan's.
few weeks. Yeah.
He's like, go ahead.
No, finish.
He said like if Deadpool is Jesus, then Blade is God, right? Like, and it's cool because also that like mended apparently the relationship, because after Blade 3, where Ryan Reynolds kind of got his kick into action films, because he played Hannibal King, and there was a lot of on-set shenanigans where Blade and Ryan Reynolds did not get along. And Wesley Snipes said, like, I don't get along with this guy. Why is he calling me? And he said, if you wanted a chance to do Blade, would you do it again? And so it was like Ryan Reynolds extending the olive branch, right? So it's just really cool. Again, culmination, love letter thing. And like, again, it coincides with the Calverine thing where it's like the end of the DCEU, which started in 2013, ends with Aquaman yelling into a microphone saying, I'm Aquaman. Like, Robert Downey Jr. is saying to a microphone, I'm Iron Man. And it's like kind of lame because it's like, cool, you end it showing your cards of how much Warner Brothers wants to be Marvel, and you're chasing it for very wrong reasons. And then the post-credit scene is Patrick Wilson, the actor who plays Orm, eating a cockroach. And it's like, it's so like lackluster where like, this is like, yes, we're making money, we're taking money from you, acquisitions happen, people got laid off, that universe is dead, but we're here to give it a rose, you know, and like and put the soil on top of the grave. And it's like, you know, yes, they defiled the grave of Logan, but it's like they did it as much like with so much grace, so much more grace than a
I didn't think we'd get
cinematic universe.
I didn't think we'd get our Superman flowers in a Deadpool movie, a Henry Cavill flowers. Speaking of post-credit scenes, possibly one of the greatest twists in the film is when you, for the entirety of the movie, think that Deadpool got Johnny Storm killed and turned into a human flesh balloon. And then he runs the tape back. And this monologue is the reason Chris Evans said, not the reason he did it, but I remember he talked in an interview where Ryan was like, "We can get you cue cards." He's like, "No. I'm memorizing. I don't get to say dialogue like this. I'm memorizing this. Like, don't worry about it. I'll be there on the day. I'll be off book." Probably one of the greatest monologues Chris Evans ever delivered. And the fucking ending it with, and you can quote me as Deadpool looks at the camera, goes, "K." Brilliant. I think that was my wife's favorite moment.
Gotcha,
possibly.
fucker.
Yeah, I was gonna say I love the gotcha fucker. I was like, because in a way, like again, Deadpool does get people into problems, and like he's so vindicated at this point. I was like, yeah.
It was such a great little twist of a moment that was perfect for the button of an after credits film or moment, but plays so well. Having gone to see it a second time and going and watching Chris Evans' character, like, no, I don't even know what half those words mean. Lovely. What a lovely moment. I'd also like to talk a little bit about the relationship between Deadpool and Wolverine in this. Because like Tom said, seeing the trailers or seeing the lead up to it, I was like, I hope it's not just kind of like, you know, mostly Deadpool and we get some Wolverine moments. It is so solely focused on the two of them. And now I know some people had issues with them fighting because they both can't die, but like,
it's part of the comedy of it.
First fight when Wolverine gets on all fours and runs at Deadpool. It's like, yeah, this is great. This is all I want. I want this. I don't care if there are no consequences in it. But you really get this really cool. I know we all saw the scene in the diner in the trailers where he says, you know, you were an X-Man. Fuck that. You were the X-Man in our universe. And he goes, yeah, well, ain't shit in mine. Like just getting to see that journey between the two of them. And the, you know, obviously it's like very buddy cop, right? It's very like the serious Wolverine with comedy, you know, Deadpool, but getting to find that middle ground when we finally reach our Deadpool army and we get to see the thing we've been waiting 23 years for, where Wolverine reaches back, pulls on and we get to see Hugh. Not only do we get to see Wolverine in a costume, we get to see the Wolverine in a costume, comic accurate costume with the hood and the mask. And boy, oh boy, if this just didn't also, Deadpool has also done this thing for me where I'm like, I no longer am questioning whether or not Batman would look good with white eyes. It's not even a question in my mind. And this Wolverine mask especially was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's fucking go with Batman with white eyes in the next one, guys. Let's give in. Let's do it. Because it was great. It was just absolutely wonderful to see that. And I think, you know, flowers, speaking of giving people flowers, I think Ryan deserves just a ton of credit. Ryan and Sean Levy, just knowing what, you know, not only knowing what audiences wanted, but it's because it's what they wanted as fans of the franchise as well. And really just kind of delivering on a lot of things that I didn't know I wanted to see either, like Johnny Storm coming back. But that mask moment for me was just such a highlight from this whole thing. And I still haven't gotten over it. I went to go see it again. I got the commemorative cup because he has the mask on in the cup. And I was like, yeah, let's fucking go.
Before Esteves goes in again, I want to jump in real quick and say, you know, again, so we're not using old Logan. We're not using that Wolverine. So like there is this kind of interesting writing play that we have to like kind of acknowledge, because if we're going to go with a completely different Wolverine, it has different context, right? So it doesn't have the same history of the character that we know. It does have some familiarity with it. But then now, again, there's something outside of the film of audiences wanting this suit on Wolverine, on Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. And I think the film does something that the Star Wars films failed to do, where the audience is, for Star Wars, Chewie has to get his medal. Chewie has to get the medal. Why the fuck is he just screaming while everyone else gets a fucking medal? In the universe, there is no real reason why Chewbacca wants the medal. But at the end of the last movie, he gets a fucking medal. And it's stupid. And then here, we want Wolverine to wear the suit. We got the suit. So like in trailers, we were already satisfied. But all of us in the middle, in the minds are like, cool, at least he's in the suit. If he gets a cowl, that's the chair on top. We don't know. We want it, but we're happy already. But in story, it means more too. Wolverine says how like, so at the diner where Deadpool's like, what's up with the suit? He's like, stop fucking asking. And we find out that like the suit's all he has left of the X-Men.
Oh my god.
Tom Wamsgand is like, this is the worst Wolverine, right? And this Wolverine has something to prove now. This Wolverine's arc is to become the guy, right? He's never the right guy, but then also the exact thing that got him into this point is the thing he's facing against, helping Deadpool, saving other people, being there when they need him, right? And typically he's always refused. He's a drunkard, and getting over that. And then
whereas he said, God forbid I let Scott know I wanted to be there.
Yeah.
Like,
and he answers the call and breaks through using, again, the same lessons and familiar faces of characters who are like, we can't do this without you. And, in another universe, you are the guy, right? And so he ends up becoming the guy and proving that to himself, and then saying like, this is all I have of them. And he's like, and at the very end of the movie, close to the end, where they kind of are trying to sacrifice each other for each other. They're like, hey, you deserve a second chance to like live life right. And they like, Logan's like, it's on me. I'm going to go there. I'm going to do something I should have been able to do.
I need to do this.
And then Deadpool in that same regard, and that's also interesting, right? Like the first Deadpool movie, it's a revenge story, or it's a revenge and also save the girlfriend story. And then the second one is prevent the apocalypse story. And then this one's like save the world story. And prevent the apocalypse and save the world are kind of different, because it's like we're stopping a bomb from blowing up versus I have to then detract evil from destroying a thing, right? So it's now we have Deadpool actually doing something semi altruistic, although there is a personal touch. He's like, I'm only doing it mainly for the people I love, but also it does affect everyone else, and so I have to do things that would later on bring him into the MCU. I don't give a fuck about him becoming an Avenger. I hate becoming an Avenger as any type of motivation. I think that's the weakest motivation you can have. But I do think him caring about the people that matter to him, even when he's not even romantically connected to them anymore, like he still loves them. He realized like they're the most important things to him, and then going out of his way to bring Wolverine, Logan to like rise up to become the hero that he can't be. So I think it's really cool.
And that moment with Daphne at the fire pit where she's like, it's okay, and he's like, no, I have to fucking say this. I have to say this. You need to let me say this. Was another one of those moments where you're just like, oh, that's right, you got Hugh Jackman, let him act, let the man act, let him do his thing. Go ahead, Steve. Sorry.
No, and also the Avenger thing plays perfectly as to Deadpool thinking he needs that. It's not what he needs. He just thinks he needs to have it because he just thinks he's supposed to be that. I do love the timing of that meeting, how it's a month before Thanos arrives. It's March 2018 and Thanos arrives in April. So it's just funny how he's there. Just missed Thanos by a month. Who knows what that'd be like? The history with Ryan bringing Deadpool to the screen. There's a clip out there of a interview he did after Blade Trinity was done. And the animosity between him and Wesley, a lot of when you look into it, primarily was because Wesley hated the Blade Trinity screenplay, but that's what they had to work with.
Contractually, he was
he's producer, he's star, he loves Blade. He has to do it. He just does not like the story they're doing. And there's a little bit of that anger was being taken out on Ryan, who at that time was a young guy who's
could improvise.
And I think Ryan, I have an element of Ryan's attitude where if I know you don't like me, I'm going to amp up. I'm going to play into it by being louder than usual because I know you don't like me, but I don't give a shit that you don't like me. So I think that's what started that between the two of them. And time in some cases does heal as 20 years go by. And these guys are now taking photo ops together and arm in arm. Like, what the hell
There's
are we mad
only
about?
one blade. There's only ever going to be one blade.
Oh my god.
Motherfuckers always trying to skate uphill. When he said,
I mean,
that,
okay,
I'm like,
we could just go over all of the
Still.
quotes, right? It's just
Still trying to,
infinitely
like-
quotable too. Like,
but it just in that interview though, he says there's only one comic book character he'd ever play, and that's Deadpool. That's it. And Deadpool was the inspiration for Hannibal King. So just seeing Ryan devote to getting this character made, even given the error that was X-Men Origins Wolverine, and to still be able
I don't know.
to,
I think that's really cool. I think he has katana blades is like, an upgrade from his
Yeah, and they
original.
sewed his mouth shut.
Yeah, because he has to shut up, and then at the
Yeah,
post-credit
yeah.
scene, he's like, shh, and I'm like, I don't know, was that a thing?
It was a thing. the fact that he was able to go through all that and still have this vision to finally,
Good thing someone leaked that
Deadpool.
test footage.
yes,
Whoever it was.
wink, wink.
Dogpool,
Yeah, it was Dogpool.
The
happy pool.
the love over Dogpool.
Oh,
Just the little kid stomping his feet. Get the fuck out of here! And just stomping his feet.
I mean,
Oh, can we talk about Nice Pool?
yeah,
for a
nice
second?
pool, there you go.
Can we talk about Nice Pool and,
What do you
and
mean?
not having what do you mean regenerate? And he's got the blood dripping out of his. There's a coffee stand over there, basically a triage. I don't know if you noticed this. There's a pharmacy behind them. Just want to point that out.
Oh, I can break the fourth wall too.
There's an urgent care. I mean,
The proposal.
motherfucker, you think that's what I do? Yeah. Go on.
Just to add on to that too. Again, just because they're such a common thing, and like I think they're quite cheap, but I think when they're done well, they do the thing that someone like me who's watching a movie pretty critically will enjoy it, and it will bring me back to a childhood like sense of watching a movie where like it doesn't bother me. When I can tell you're relying on that because you're kind of fluffing up your runtime and trying to make a scene more impactful than it actually is. It is needle drops. And I think these ones were perfect. Like
Madonna.
Dogpool coming in when they get the Honda Odyssey and it's Avril Lavigne, and I'm just like,
Oh, yeah.
these are great. We had NSYNC already, so like again, they did the here's the expectation. Again, the first 5 minutes of a movie is like so imperative to just set the tone for the movie, and this did it in a way where it's like, again, it's like Corey had talked about, like, the trepidation of talking about Marvel movies or whatever because of Ragnarok. And I'm like, because of Ragnarok, I had the proper expectation going to Love and Thunder, which was, I know I'm not meant to fall in love with this. Me, as a person, not meant to fall in love with it. All the other people,
I didn't either.
all the people who hated Love and Thunder, I'm like, but you guys got everything you loved from Ragnarok times 1,000. So it's like, I knew that if I didn't love Ragnarok, I wasn't supposed to love this. So like, but this was like, cool. I know exactly what I'm going for. And when they like are able to intermingle, like, oh, they're doing interesting visuals. They're addressing the audience in an intelligent way. It's metatextual, but also like not detracting of like, we are telling this specific story of saving one universe, not all universes. I was like, I'm here for the ride. Like it was
Okay.
great. I loved all the music drops.
Honda Odyssey here for the ride. Love it.
There's also something I hadn't known until after I'd seen it. Was
The Greatest Showman tracks skipping.
So when I heard that I heard the playlist, I thought, are they going to get a whole scene of The Greatest Showman of just that one clip? That's it. There's one part.
It's two songs. It's the and then the what's the other the one where he starts out as a kid singing and he becomes an adult.
It's Stars. It's
Million Dreams.
Yeah.
And then it goes into
on the music thing, I didn't know till after it was about Madonna and how Madonna, like Led Zeppelin, does not lease out all her music freely. And so he had to meet Madonna, break down the whole story he had planned. And I guess Madonna even gave some tidbits on how to use the song when it came into like the ending and the angle played. So Madonna literally played a part in the development that used the song in the trailers and in the movies.
Wow.
So that's yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Iris is a song that is
He has risen, baby. I'm gonna say it every time.
It is a song inside of me
my brain
that like I can't help but like tear up every time I hear it.
forever to touch you.
And then
Guys smiling.
seeing it here, even though it's used for comedy, I want to like tear up still because I'm like, that song means a lot. But I will say Madonna's song, is like I can't hear that song the same way. Like that song has
Never
forever
again.
changed for me, especially like, okay, let's talk about the ending. Shirts
choir.
blow off, and then
The choir version.
yes, abs come out, and then just like
Deadpool sneaking a peek at the
I
ad.
love
Deadpool taking a peek of it, but it's like slow mo, and it's all done. And it's like again, it's the cheap, hot, sexy guy objectification, but it's used into the playful nature of like, come on, we're playing into the thing, and we're using it as the climactic thing, and it's a feat of unity as well as like machismo, because we're getting Wolverine till he's 90, right?
And it made you think that maybe they could be dying in that moment. We don't know for sure. We watching it, you don't know that it's possible. So it's like,
I know they're gonna live.
I don't know. At that moment, I wasn't sure. I was like, is this it?
We had 2 fight scenes where they chopped each other into bits and they didn't die. They're not going to die.
Eventually, the human body.
Unkillable beings.
Eventually, Hugh Jackman's human body will not be able to keep up with the.
I mean, just for the comic book nerds, everyone knows this. Comic book nerds know this. Deadpool, Thanos, and Mistress Death have a 3-way little triangle thing, and Thanos hates Deadpool because Mistress Death actually acknowledges Deadpool and pretty much forbade him from the realm of death, and that's why he's practically immortal, even though he's got a regenerative factor. So it's like, should he even need to regenerate? But anyways, Corey was about to go.
No, I was just gonna say I also loved the Peter pool show up, and then
The Peter Ex
all
Machina.
of the Deadpool. Yeah, abandoning. Enjoy my Peter is the line that Deadpool, which is like play on words. Love, well done. But his little moment with the TVA agent from Loki, adored that. That little spice.
Love Rob Delaney.
Yeah,
Rob Delaney.
killing it. No, this movie, I mean, you get the just to name a few more things before we kind of wrap this up that really touched my millennial soul.
Wolverine middle finger holding dog pull. Just
Sabretooth.
Oh,
Getting Sabretooth. I mean, and a lot of people, I know some of my friends were like, oh man, I wish there was more of a fight. And I was like, no, it makes perfect sense. In Origins, he says, I'm going to cut your head off, see if that works.
yeah.
Boom. Delivered.
But also, it's also pretty samurai. And I'm cool with that.
Is this your queen?
Yeah. Furiosa. Fucking great. Fucking loved it. I loved the references, even though we didn't get all the original actors in there. We had the Russian, we had this year's Juggernaut, which I loved. Oh, this year's Juggernaut.
Toad.
We got Toad, we got Zazel, we got the OG Pyro.
Psylocke.
Loved that, by the way. It was just a really nice kind of warm, fuzzy feeling for me to see these kind of things happen.
Also, on Instagram, Sean Levy, they posted, because they were filming while they were writing these things, and they posted of Ryan Reynolds going over how Blade takes out Toad. Like Ryan is in this, like, doing the whole thing with his hands as they're breaking down the story, and then they show the clip.
Send that to me.
Yeah, I'll show it. It's on Sean Levy's Instagram. It's them when they were just writing the screenplay, and Ryan is explaining how Blade takes out Toad, and it's literally what you see in the clip. The way Blade takes him out, takes a tongue, wraps him around, and stabs him in the head. It's everything.
God, how incredibly lucky! I'll say this too, just as a general thing during the strike. To have Ryan Reynolds as one of your main writers on that movie. I think he gets it, man. As a dude who gets it, again, like I said, his Instagram posts have been really touching my heart lately. Cool. Every single person is getting some love from him, and rightfully so, and giving their flowers. I think he's just continuing that same vibe and message from this film of like, let's have this be our goodbye. Let's pass our torch. Let's acknowledge what this brought on. I mean, when he said that we would have no superhero films without Blade and Wesley Snipes, I sent it to Tom immediately, because Tom, a running gag, didn't start as a running gag, but is now, where I'll say, without, X-Men in 2001, we never would have got any sort of superhero film. And then he goes, without Blade, you wouldn't have had X-Men. And I go, yep, that's right. Without fail. Fact. So to see Ryan, I just sent it to Tom. He's like, he fucking gets it. He gets it. Mm-hmm. He's not someone, at least from our optics, that is taking any of this for granted, and is really in love with all this stuff the same way we are.
Well,
I thought Cassandra Nova
celebrating.
was so cool too.
He's celebrating.
He's celebrating it as well, and just having that moment, showing. I loved Cassandra as a villain. I thought it was really interesting. I hope this isn't. It's probably the last we see, but I hope it isn't, because I want to see more fingers. But that moment of Wolverine being like, take the helmet off, take the fucking helmet off.
Yeah.
If Charles knew you were alive, he would have scoured the universe to bring you back here.
Oh,
I was like, God damn it.
I want to be the man he thought I was.
those moments right there. God damn it.
I adored it. I thought this movie was such a love letter to anyone who's loved any part of the Fox. And which one was New Line Cinema?
New Line
Cinema. But also who was just, getting things in there like Gambit and stuff and the suit and just stuff we've imagined as well as fans, getting that delivered to us as well was just, this is a huge gift with a big old fucking Deadpool bow on it. And I couldn't have been happier from start to finish with it. I don't have many notes for this film.
On a side note, usually I'm watching IMDb Pro with box office when it comes to horror movies because I'm on this role of proving you don't need to spend over $100 million to make a hit with horror movies because they tend to be the movies that always do it. And I've been watching Deadpool and Wolverine. The reason for that is because there was an account on the old Twitter, whatever. And rarely do I go after individuals unless it's like whack jobs like, little Ben Shapiro and Andrew Tate. But this guy I came across, a film guy, who most of the time I agree with the stances he has. But he had this thing he put out the second the trailer came out, real negative on it. And he had the picture of Casino Royale, of James Bond at the poker table. And he says, Deadpool and Wolverine will underperform.
I know who you're talking about, yeah.
And he said
That
underperform,
sucks.
meaning it wouldn't make what Deadpool 2 made. And so I was watching all weekend. I was keeping the math. I was waiting for it to pass Deadpool 2. The second it did, I tweeted him, not hateful, just saying, listen, not here to give you any MCU like fanatic hate or slurs, just here to provide you an alternate GIF regarding your what you believe is going to happen. And it's the picture of it's the GIF of the chief going, oops, and smiling. You were wrong, bitch. You were wrong.
Well done. Well done.
Which right now it is currently at 1.14 billion worldwide.
Highest grossing R-rated film ever.
Beat Jesus.
It's crazy when like you kind of just give characters life and it kind of makes money.
Oh, and care and
like
give
you're
a
not
shit.
just we're gonna just call a movie a cul-de-sac instead of a lane to make more movies.
Well, yeah, Esteves, before we get to the last end of it all, any lasting thoughts, anything? Okay, so let's talk about like, do we want any more of it, or how would we recommend this film?
I would want. Here's the thing. I hope we get to see another Wolverine Deadpool team up. I wouldn't be mad about it, but I also loved Tom's idea where we get Deadpool and Spider-Man or Deadpool and something else as well. I'd be fine with either of those. I think I'm undecided if I want another Deadpool and Wolverine. I just was in love with the chemistry of Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds and how much fun they were having on that set. And those two characters together are just, you can do so much to them. And I think there's a lot of unexplored stuff now that they are they are friends. They are the reluctant friends at the end of this, that they need and deserve, much like Lethal Weapon, where they're like, all right, we didn't get along, but fucking A, we work well together.
We're not too old for this shit.
I'd like one of those. I'd like the Empire Strikes Back of their relationship, where we're like, okay, we don't need to explain everything. It's all here. Let's just play now. Let's play with it. I think that'd be a lot of fun. But I love Tom's idea of like Deadpool and Cable, Deadpool and Wolverine, Deadpool and Spider-Man is look, if I can get Ryan Reynolds and Andrew Garfield on a screen together.
Oh yeah.
I about come.
I'm just imagining the lines. So you really couldn't catch her, huh?
When my girlfriend died, I brought her back.
Were you? Yeah, I brought her back. Were you slow? I don't.
No, I just think there's a lot of possibilities. I hope this isn't our last Deadpool outing. I just think, my hot take is that roll my eyes at that is that I think Ryan plays Deadpool, to such a T and is so perfect for this role. And so as someone who, I didn't read a ton of Deadpool comics, but I read enough to know going into these movies that I was like, oh, this guy gets it. This is how I've pictured it in my head. I mean, it's in the likes of like RDJ as Iron Man. Like it's up there in that caliber for me. It's someone embodying a character so well that I will now look at other media of that character through that lens, for better, for worse. And I hope this isn't the last time we see him in that suit.
Yeah. Along the same lines, yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Deadpool like popping up randomly throughout the MCU. Like even if he's, again, the Deadpool and amazing idea, or if it's a movie that's not a Deadpool movie, but he's there, even for a scene where Wade's just there.
You reminded me of something. Continue.
Okay.
Continue.
I know that there's going to be a moment down the road in the MCU that we're eventually going to get that why Thor is crying. So I'm imagining all of us, the moment we finally get that scene and we know now why Thor is crying. So I just feel like we're going to be building to that eventually somehow, whether it's a huge finale or a small part, who knows? I see it happening. I love these three movies. Deadpool provided for me, the movies made me read the comics, and what has made Deadpool my second favorite Marvel character. And of course, when I read it, I can only hear, like when I only hear RDJ when I read Iron Man comics. I only hear Ryan Reynolds when I read Deadpool comics. And if there's ever other people he could meet up, there's a great comic that was really funny. It was Deadpool and Punisher. And Punisher hates him more than Wolverine does. And there's a moment in the comic where Punisher booby traps an entire house with explosives and grenades to stop Deadpool. And Deadpool sees them and knows he can get around him. What does he do? He just walks right through the whole thing normally and just gets blown around it. And then just snaps himself back into shape in front of Punisher, basically. So that's someone else. That would be John Bernthal. Could he stomach Ryan Reynolds? We'll see. But yeah, I would love to see some continuing Deadpool, whether it's his own movies or he just appears here and there in certain movies.
I saw this when I was just talking about seeing him pop up in other films. Most likely would be PG-13. And what are PG-13 movies allowed?
One
fuck.
He gets the one.
Well, here's the thing. Better than that, I can't take full credit on this. There's a whole discussion on this forum going on. But what if he's aware of this? He's like, I'm gonna get the one F-bomb in this movie. And he's like, talks about it. And lo and behold, a moment comes, he's filled with it and someone else takes it. Thor takes it. And then he loses it and is bleeped out for a full minute and a half. Yeah. I think that's a way better use of that.
I had one moment. I had one.
Yeah. Someone just goes, "Oh fuck."
Hemsworth.
No.
Hemsworth is the guy who had delivered that.
Yeah.
I could see Hemsworth smugly doing that too.
Yeah. So I think that's how you do that.
That's good. I like that.
That's the way. Tom?
Yeah, I mean, I think Deadpool Spider-Man is obviously something that Spider-Man's known for quips, and if there's one person that annoys Spider-Man more than how he annoys his rogues gallery, it's how Deadpool annoys him. So that's just kind of a no-brainer.
Spider-Man the straight man. Woo!
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, it'd be interesting to see if it's a Tom Holland Spider-Man, but Andrew Garfield, again, from Homecoming, from Far From Home, you just kind of saw like Andrew Garfield Spider-Man kind of, again, neat, like the character, if there's one thing this movie did, it kind of just showed like we kind of do want to see the closure of all these other guys. And of course, this movie tries to do that, but it's like, come on. And like the cool thing in a weird way is that I saw, again, hey man, I shill for Zacky Snacky. After Deadpool and Wolverine, there was a lot of articles about how like the Snyderverse can finish, like you can have your cake and eat it too, and this movie absolutely says you can. Like, just kind of just put your effort into it, and then it'll show up, and then people will come to watch it, and then they'll pay money. But lasting thoughts. So I actually have like an act, like a this is a hot take. This is an actual hot take.
Cavalry.
That'd be cool. But I mean, I don't know. I'd be down to totally see up until 90. Like, actually, they don't have to color his hair anymore, and it's just like actually grayed out. And he gets the fur leather jacket. But
saw it a little bit.
Deadpool and Wolverine is a very entertaining movie. Was it about? I can't really tell. I mean, it's just infinitely enjoyable, and like that's okay. Like it doesn't need to be about it. Like, am I going to be like, oh my God, this is cinema's best picture year? But do I love this movie a lot? I do. Like, it's one of those things like, is it a 5? Is it a 4? Is it 3? No matter what, I like it on Letterboxd, right? I can like a 1 star. I can like a 5 star. Like, I really enjoy this movie. Is it like the most cinematic, filmy film? Like, no. Is it
No.
quote unquote?
Is it Logan? No.
Is it a great film? It's up to you to decide. Am I going to put it in that like, oh my God, it's the fucking Prestige? But like, I don't care that it's not, right? Like, it's like, it just does everything so well within its own medium.
It's also not what it was trying. It's not what it was trying to do or pretend to be either.
Yeah, and I think, but to me, and that's the thing where it's like, again, price of admission for me is like seeing the soul in that end credit, and it was just like, yo, you didn't have to do these things. Like, you could have been the DCU and been like, fuck you, we're resetting. We don't give a fuck about anything that happened before us except anything that touches Peacemaker, which is like just such bullshit, right? But
anyone else feel that when Ryan said, I did this for you, it felt like he was talking to you? When Deadpool's like, I did it for you. I did it for you.
There's a sense of giving a shit on the project.
And for a character that's not, right? For a character that trounces upon ceremony, this one has, again, so much grace in such a weird way. It's like, it's so surprising. But then again, it's one of those movies that I wouldn't mind putting on replay all day during Thanksgiving, Christmas cooking, right?
Absolutely.
Like, it's so popcorn enjoyable, but also like it has depth to it. You could find a depth to it. Is it gonna be like, oh, it's about the blah, blah, blah? No, it doesn't have to be about that, right? It's not like Jurassic Park is about culmination of a family. No, it's not about that. This is something else. So that's the hot take about it. I would ultimately always, like, I could 100% recommend this to literally anybody who just wants to watch something enjoyable, and then also have some moments of emotional empathy and some hard-hitting moments, as well as like
watch Logan first.
Service.
Watch Logan first.
But yeah,
that's it.
There was a great fan fiction meme I thought was funny. It would never happen, but someone said these two would be BFFs if they were together in a movie. And someone was like, make it happen. It's Deadpool and Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn.
Oh yeah, sure.
These two are meant to be a duo together.
So with that, all of Deadpool and Wolverine conversation is done. Everyone, thank you. But we do have one last part of the show.
Yes, we do.
Be our special one interesting thing: a game, TV show, song, book. Any hidden gems we want to talk about to bring to our audiences. If you want to talk more about Deadpool and Wolverine, you got to join our Discords. You got to talk to our Patreons. Join nerdon.tv/Patreon, nerdon.tv/Discord, and let us know. And put in the comments of our YouTube videos, as well as our comments on our podcast apps.
This one's clean.
Tom, why don't you start us off with this one?
For me, I'll do a book. And it's a book that I'm starting to read. And it was highly inspired because we did an episode of The Boy and the Heron. And there's 2 books really highly connected to The Boy and the Heron, and I mentioned it. And it's the Book of Lost Things, John Connolly, and it is almost beat for beat the same thing as Boy and the Heron. I'm not so far into it. I'm about like 100 pages in, and it follows a boy who is mourning the loss of his mother, and his dad quickly remarries. And then he gets transported into the woods, and it's like a Alice in Wonderland-y, but like the crooked man is kind of haunting him, much like the heron. And I'm reading it, and you know, sometimes it takes a little bit of investment. It takes some time. It takes some like grinding through to like read a book that in a form that you're not well read into. Like, I just finished Dark Matter, and I was like, oh, this is a very easy read. Frank Herbert, his prose makes it very interesting, and like, even though it's very dense, it's quite poetic because you're poetically understanding what people are going through. This book is like, we're kind of seeing this sad boy be sad, and then I'm kind of like, oh God, please get me to the fantastical stuff already. But I am enjoying it now that we've gotten here. We've met a little baby spoiler. We've met a woodsman who has to fight some werewolves, and I'm like, yo, this is getting crazy.
Sad boy is sad is now my that's
Sad boy is sad.
That's got to be an album from the 80s or something. It's like a Boy George album.
How about y'all?
For me, I've been playing through Mafia 1 Definitive Edition.
Oh,
it was free on Game Pass this week, And so on my downtime,
Explain
Well,
Mafia 1 to those.
Mafia is a trilogy of games by 2K Entertainment. It takes place, the first one takes place in the 20s and 30s. The second one takes place right after World War II. So the first one though was made, I don't know how many years ago, probably 20 years ago at this point. And they just re-released they redid all of the cutscenes with mocap, redid all the acting, basically rebuilt the game from the floor up, and it's fucking great. It's so much fun.
22 years ago.
22 years ago. Okay. And I think this definitive edition came out 2 years ago. So I think it was the 20th when it came out. But yeah, it's that's what I've been doing on my downtime at night. If I can't sleep or whatever, I'll do a mission here, a mission there. And then I noticed that if you wanted to buy the entire pack of 1, 2, and 3 with all the DLC, was $8 of all the new definitive remastered editions. So I will be working my way on through Mafia 2 as well. But it's been a blast. It's so fun to be a little mafia guy in the 30s. You start out as Tommy. The game starts. I think the story is fucking fantastic. You start out as Tommy, this cab driver who these two guys running away from another gang, get in the car and point a gun at you and say, drive. And those two guys become your best friend. You drive them there safe. The Don gives you some money for getting his boys home safe. And then you get in a bit of trouble and you go, where do I go? Oh, I'll go to the Don's place, I guess. And they let you in, protect you, and you're welcomed into the family, and you become their driver. And
Once Upon a Time in America. Nice. Then
you become like the Don's right hand man. It's great. It's a lot of fun. The story's great. It's got great characters in it. Polly and Tommy and Sammy. Those are you play Tommy.
Those are your go-to monster
Polly and
names.
Sam. Polly and Sam are your best friends. Anyway,
Polly.
It's been a blast. It's been a lot of fun. And I can't wait to get on to 2. So yeah, that's been my one interesting thing. Check it out if you can. It's on Game Pass.
This fucking guy over here.
Tommy Angelo is his name.
Tommy Big Guns. Hey,
his name is Tommy
Angelo. Tommy
Wheelman. Yeah.
Esteves.
Mine's kind of going into a specific genre and reliving certain movies. I'm going back into
back in time.
those mid-budget, early 90s, mid-90s movies. Like going back and finding them. Like one of the ones I found last night was The Paper, a Ron Howard film with Michael Keaton, Glenn Close, Randy Quaid, before when he only played crazy guys in film and didn't actually become one. Marissa Tomei is in there.
Batman.
It's basically a newspaper, and they are trying to get the story right about these two young black men who are being arrested for a murder.
Oh, so it's like the better version of Spotlight.
Robert Duvall, yes, Robert Duvall. He was The Paper before Spotlight, basically.
Because Michael Keaton's also in that movie.
It's Ron Howard. Ron Howard directed, and I read one of the trivia saying how to this day it is still considered the most realistic approach to a newsroom, to a newspaper room. So I wanted to watch it, and I remember this movie because it used to, at a time when I'd come home from middle school or high school, it was one of those movies that HBO would replay like every afternoon for a good 2 months. Like it was always on at a certain time. And I'd always watch it every time it was on because I was like, hey, look, it's Batman, but not Batman. I want to watch this. And so it was a movie I remember watching on and then never watched it again. And so I'm scrolling through Netflix. I'm like, The Paper is on Netflix? I'm going to watch The Paper. I'm going to watch The Paper.
I'm going to check that out.
So I'm kind of like trying to relive these like the mid-budget 90s movies that weren't big blockbusters but did well and got critics, talking about them and these ensemble casts for their time period, because that's a pretty big cast given the time period. So
I want to do a podcast. Let's talk about this for a second. This is the end of our Deadpool episode for everyone who's really interested.
Yeah.
I'd like to do a podcast. We could talk about this. My favorite genre of film, low key, is like late 70s to mid to late 80s sci-fi. So you got Alien, you've got Blade Runner, like things like that. The Thing, like, and I don't know what, how like 90s movies have a certain vibe. There's like a warmth to 90s films, and maybe it's because we grew up then. I don't know what it is about late 70s to mid 80s sci-fi that has this like slow burn vibe that I'm so in love with. In love with it. Close Encounters. Emilio Estevez, and
Mighty Ducks.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about, where the car turns bright green at the end of it.
yes. My uncle Emilio.
Yeah.
Platoon.
Anyway, we'll do a whole episode on this.
That was Charlie Sheen.
He's the other Esteves.
Young Guns. It's Young
Carlos-
Guns.
Young Guns.
Anyway, sing us out of here, Tom. Get us
Carlos
out.
Esteves, his real name.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to our Deadpool and Wolverine episode. If you liked what you listened to or just want to support the show because you do like it, check out nerdon.tv for our other episodes, our YouTube, everything like that. This podcast is a video and audio entertainment, so you can check it out on places where they play videos as well as places they have podcasts, because Spotify and YouTube does the same thing. YouTube, you can put a video and you call it a podcast playlist. Spotify, you put a podcast, like, do you have your video? So it's, doing the dumb stuff. We really appreciate you guys listening, interacting with us. Check out all the things we have to offer, our social media, connect with us, and check out our Discord, most of all, to continue the conversations that we're having here today. If you, again, would like to support us, check out nerdon.tv/Patreon to join the Nerd On Nation. There are free membership options as well as $1, $5, and $8 tiers that keep the lights on, and as well, if you're in any of those paid tiers, you get early access to literally everything.
Figuratively.
So check it out.
Repo Man. For those of you listening and going like, what the fuck was he talking about? Is Repo Man.
Yes.
Repo Man.
Okay. Oh.
Check us out on our update show. That might change because dates are weird, but it is a live show on Twitch where we do talk about the nerdy news that excites us. Thank you, everyone.
Currently Mondays, but check out our Discord for that if that changes.
Minute
Yes.
work.
Or check out nerdon.tv/Twitch just to see our VODs. Thank you, Corey. Thank you, Esteves, for co-hosting
Thank you,
tonight.
Tom.
Thank you, listeners.
Let's fucking go.
I was going to do that.
Y'all know the drill. As always, nerd on.
Nerd on.
Let's fucking go.
So sorry, Steve. I didn't mean to.
It's okay.
That's twice.
Ending broadcast.